starting. Dear viewers, let's see. We are live. We are broadcasting. The question is whether or not Eloise is watching or is participating, because she should be able to video herself and audio in to talk with us.
It's funny that whenever the whatever it's called, it's brought up, we all just go and
look. I know, that is pretty funny, huh?
It'd be funny if you joined right now.
Where we're just staring at the camera.
Yeah.
Are you there, Eloise? Are you there yet? I don't have any further emails from her. Let me see. Let me just send her an email and say, give it a try again.
Oh, yeah. Maybe she's not on the computer right now.
Apparently, when you just email
Oh, wow. Oh, so she got a buy one, get a few, huh? How many? 2? Does she are they milk goats or what does she keep them for? Just pets? She doesn't do milk, she doesn't milk them or anything?
Actually, well, no, she doesn't.
No. Because one of the teachers at Pine Lane, she got goats and they like drinking the
The other way around.
She's not allowed to chew furniture or homework. No, she said she never does that. But chew furniture, I said she lives.
She's been invited.
Okay.
So
we should just
get started and hopefully that she'll.
All right, well, we'll hope
in.
that Eloise joins us and we
Yep.
can kind of pay attention to that. We are recording it.
Yep, it is all recorded.
So that Cannon is on vacation, so he couldn't join us. Mila is at state swimming, so she couldn't join us. Cannon, Mila, Eloise is traveling as well. So, and Ian, I'm not sure about. I didn't hear any communication from them. So those are the only people that we're missing. So we'll go ahead and get started. So we wanted to start off with talking a little bit about this surprise situation and giving you some facts about why it is, how it happened, how we got to this point, because we kind of feel like maybe there's some misperceptions and misconceptions on your part, and we want you to be all on the same page with us, okay? So the facts are, we found out about this about 24 hours before you did. So we all found out about this Monday. We found out Monday morning, you found out Monday night, Tuesday morning, okay? So this was nothing like that we kept secret or hid from you at the end of the year. This all came up just now. And the fact is that Miss Michelle is leaving Renaissance for another position in the district. The fact is we are going to combo classes and we can't change that. I know a lot of the comments that I've kind of heard, and one of the feedback forms that was turned in was, why didn't we get a say on this? We didn't get a say either, okay? So it was Miss Brittany and Miss Kim, you're teaching a 4-5 combo class and you're teaching a 5-6 combo class. It wasn't, do you choose to do a combo class or do we choose to replace it? It's, this is what the district says. So it's kind of that systems thinking thing, that we're part of a system and sometimes decisions are made that we don't have a say in. And now we just figure out what we're going to do to handle the situation.
Yeah.
Okay. So we didn't get a choice and you don't either. Okay. This is the combo class. Every other school who has Discovery in Douglas County has combo classes.
And on top of that, the last 2 years when we've had the single grade classes have been very unusual. In the past at Discovery at Renaissance, we've always had a 2-3, a 4-5, and a 5-6. So the last 2 years have been kind of unique and unexpected. We were kind of unusual in that, but this is the norm in the district, and it's been the norm at Renaissance for the past 8 years before the last 2. That
Okay.
makes sense?
So then we thought maybe we need to explain to you what combo class means, because I think there's some misperception about what combo class means if you're a 5th grader and you're in the 4-5, or you're a 5th grader and in the 5-6, and what it means, okay? So when a school has a combo class or a multi-age class, that teacher is responsible for teaching both of those curriculums, okay? So I am responsible for teaching 4th grade and 5th grade. It is not, if you're in the 4-5, you weren't good enough to be in the 5-6. It is not, if you're in the 4-5, you're going to do 4th grade all over again. It means that you will get 5th grade curriculum from me, and 4th graders will get 4th grade curriculum from me. We know that Miss Brittany has 5th and 6th grade. The 6th graders, just because they're in a combo class doesn't mean, oh, well, they're going to do 5th grade curriculum because there's 5th graders in here. She's responsible for 5th grade and 6th grade, okay? Now, some schools do it where the 4-5 teacher does their thing and the 5-6 teacher does their thing, okay? This is where we've had a little bit of choice in the matter, okay? And we think it's best to join our efforts to provide you guys with opportunities to interact, opportunities to group together, opportunities for us to plan. So we're kind of scrapping everything that we may have had in place, like what I started developing last year that I wanted to tweak and change and implement again in maybe a little bit different way, but some of the same. I'm letting that go, and we're starting fresh as a team.
Yeah.
So at Renaissance, what we've chosen to do, because what we think is best for you, is to join our forces so that you get the best from both of us, okay? So please know that if you're in the 4-5, it did not mean that you weren't good enough to be in the 5-6. It does not mean that you're not going to be challenged. I hope that you know me enough by now to know that I don't let anybody slack and not be challenged. Okay, that's one of my number one important things. Would you say that I showed that to you last year?
Yes.
Okay, so I need you to trust me in this. That if you're in a 4-5, you're not going to have a do-over. You're not going to be, oh, I've already done this. Just like with math, we already teamed and grouped for math, didn't we? Now we're just going to look at doing that for other things.
Yep.
Okay? So I know you wanted to add something about the multi-age
Yeah.
as well.
So, and something else that came up when Ms. Kim and I were talking about this meeting this morning was that other places, like the school where I student taught before I came and became a teacher, they intentionally chose multi-age classrooms. They had a kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade, and those kids stayed in that class for 3 years. And then they had a 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, and those kids stayed in that class for 3 years. So it's a model that a lot of schools choose because it's actually been shown that it's good for kids at all parts. So just because you're the older group doesn't mean that while you're getting kind of dragged down, you're getting like whatever is best for those younger kids. That's not the case. And there have been studies and research that prove that it's actually really good for kids, at the younger kids and the older kids in the crew. I also, in middle school, was in multi-age classrooms. My school chose that on purpose. So this, I know it feels a little bit like we were kind of stuck with this, but it's actually something that a lot of schools, a lot of teachers choose on purpose because it's a neat model, and you're kind of lucky to get the same teacher for a couple years in a row. But also because it educationally has been proven that it's good for kids. It's good for you guys.
So like one of the expeditionary schools in Denver, it's called REMSL for short, but it's the Rocky Mountain School of Expeditionary Learning. They choose combo crews even for not just they don't really have a discovery program, but just generally across the board, they have combo crews. They're mixed because they've chosen that as a model because it's good to have that interaction. But please know that our number one goal for you is that you learn and grow no matter what. No matter whether you're in 4-5, no matter whether you're in 5-6, you will be learning and growing and doing what I would say what things the state says that you're supposed to do, but we go beyond that anyway. So you will be learning and growing and challenged no matter what. And we have the gift of being able to work together, which is something we are super excited about, and have some really great plans going already, even though we've only known about this since Monday. Okay? We had a 3.5-hour meeting yesterday when we were talking. Okay, so we are very committed to you, and we hope that we will have your trust that no matter which crew you're in, we will do what's best for you, challenge you, grow you, and give you opportunities. Okay? So are there any questions about what combo means and any of the placement decisions? The placement was not based on anything except we have to divide all of you into 2 crews. Yes.
So you just randomly split us up.
Well, we could have, but we also needed to look at things like boy-girl balance. We needed to look at overall boy-girl balance, not just within the 5th grade, but
across
also
the board, yes.
across the board, so that our 2 crews would kind of mirror each other and be fair with total numbers, with somewhat of a balance between boys and girls. So we did look at that. We did think about some relationships. Not everybody could be with everybody they wanted to be with, but we did give thoughtful consideration to relationships, like who I saw that you worked with and interacted with last year. We had a very strong crew. We had a very bonded crew. So in some ways it was hard, but in some ways it was easy because you did have those good relationships with everybody. But it wasn't like just putting the names in the hat. We could have done that, but we did think about relationships. We thought about boy-girl balance, and we thought about overall numbers for our 2 crews and balance that way. But it had, that was it. There was nothing about, oh, so-and-so's not good enough, so-and-so needs to be held back. There was no holding anybody back. And you know me well enough, I would hope. Would I hold any of you back from all that you can be and do? No. And I need you to trust me that we're not going to do that. Okay? Any other questions about what combo is, what it means, and placement? Okay, so those are the facts. So then the next thing was feelings. So we want to open it up for you, and we have feelings too. So we want to open it up to you to just have some open sharing. Like I said in the email, this is a safe place. This is not, we're not going to tell the 4th graders or the 6th graders what you said, that you had a concern about this, that, or the other. This is a safe place. Yeah. This is crew meeting right here. So no judgment zone. We want to give you an opportunity to share, because we know you've been doing it with your parents. We know you've been doing it with each other. We know you've been doing it on the texts and the emails. So let's get it out in the open. Okay? Go for it.
So when I first heard about this, I felt like that I was just like, what's happening? I don't know what is all of this. Why are we splitting up this crew?
Okay.
And I was just confused.
Okay. Thank you.
And like Colby, I was confused, and I mean, I didn't really know why it was happening to me. Again, it's just confusion and not really accepting that we're gonna split up from a friend.
So I think that it's kind of good that we're getting split up in a way, because I think that if we like stayed in the same class, we would kind of more stick to each other because we knew everybody so well, and not kind of expand out to make other friends. But I think now that we kind of got split up, we might be able to make friends and higher grades than us or with lower grades than us.
So when I heard about this and I contacted Porter because he's pretty much my first friend I've ever had. And after I contacted him, give me a minute. I don't want to go all crazy. Okay. So after I contacted him, I heard that he was in my group. And that's kind of disappointing to me, but okay, now I'm just gonna laugh at myself. No, actually, give me a moment. Oh. Okay. Alright. Well, I was just kind of disappointed that I was kind of being split up. Okay, now I just feel stupid.
It's all right.
I'm just gonna stop talking now.
Okay, if you want us to come back to you, just
Alright.
we will, okay?
So whenever I first heard about this, I was really confused, and I was thinking about. My mom told me about the lunches, and with the 4-5 class, I thought about since we're going to be the 5th graders, they're going to be eating with regular 4th graders that we have never met, most likely, and that kind of was a surprise to me, and I don't really know what. Yeah, I'm gonna laugh at myself too because I don't know how to word this. So I'm just kind of surprised that we're not only being split up from our friends, but we're not even gonna have lunch with them.
This was just a question for the 5-6 thing. Are we doing IAs with 5th graders or sixth graders? Last year, people told us we were going to have IAs with the other 5th graders this year. And now if they're combined, would we be having that with 6th grade or 5th grade?
Let's give a chance for everybody's feelings to get shared. We'll come back to lunch and we'll come back to IAs.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to start addressing things before everybody's had a chance to share. Okay, but we'll come back to those.
So yesterday I talked with Miss Kim, and I'd just like to say that it makes it feel a lot better if you just say it, because it really helps, and it might be scary to do it, but once you do it, you'll be happy that you did.
We have some viewers, but I don't know if any of them know. Well, everybody has it, so it could be any of them that's not here that are watching.
Okay, anybody else?
It's just like when I heard about this, kind of the first thing that I thought about was like where the classrooms would be. We have one in the lodges and one here, so I'm kind of sad that they're going to be that far apart because we won't really even see each other walking in the hallway. Maybe for, I don't know.
Okay, we'll come back to that too.
Yeah. We will.
So I'm kind of glad this is kind of going back to about the combo classes. Well, I guess this is about the combo classes, but in fact, I'm kind of glad that we aren't having like the 5th and 4th graders are doing 4-5 activities instead of 5th are doing 5th grade, and 4th are doing 4th grade, and 5th and 6th graders are doing
5-6 activities because my parents were very upset because they thought that half of the class would be doing like more challenging things and half would be doing less challenging things. So I'm glad that that's not how it is.
Anyone else?
I think I can finish if I laugh at myself again.
Okay.
And probably go cross-eyed so I don't go insane again. Okay, so I'm just pretty disappointed that I'm not in a class with Porter because he was really my first friend I had gotten even at other schools. So I'm just kind of disappointed about some of the placements and stuff, but I think this is a good opportunity.
Well, I personally have had a lot of feelings going on this week. When I first heard, there was the shock because I had spent all summer thinking that I was going to be doing one thing and making plans and such, and found out that I would not be doing that anymore. And I had that, oh my gosh, how is this going to work feeling? Do I have enough seats? Do I have enough? All of that stuff that creates some anxiety. I also had some excitement because I've felt like, okay, we can do this. This is what we have to do. But if there's anybody for me to do this with, it's Miss Brittany. And this gives us a really cool opportunity. So there's some excitement there too. There have also been some yelling and tears on my end, especially oh, I have so much work to do now and it's the end of the summer and I really have a lot of work to do. There was some upset from me about that some of you thought that maybe I didn't treat you fairly or that I was doing things to you or that I was holding you back, and that really kind of hurt a lot because I wouldn't want you to think that I would do that to you, so there was a little hurt there too. So I've had a lot of feelings going on this week too, but I've sort of moved through all of the, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Oh my gosh, to we sat down yesterday and wow, we started talking about planning for August. And wow, this is going to be super cool. So I've had a lot going on.
Just like Miss Kim, when I first heard, I was super surprised and upset because I had these plans and I was so excited to get your whole crew because I've heard wonderful things about all of you from Miss Kim, and then there was part of me, man, that's disappointing. And I was upset, right? Especially at the short notice that we found out about this on Monday and we start school like really soon, right? And so I was a little frustrated and like Miss Kim, a little anxious, a little panicked. But after talking with her, and I think after today, talking with you guys and meeting with you guys, I feel already like this is gonna be cool. I am excited about it. When Liam said this is a cool opportunity, I agree. I think that it's going to be a neat opportunity. And I'm excited that Miss Kim and I really get to work together a lot this year. I'm really, really excited about that too.
Anybody else want to share some feelings? Go ahead.
When I first found out about this, I was a little bit disappointed that our crew was breaking up, but I was also a little bit happy that I would get to meet new friends. And also, I was also confused, like I said before, for another reason, because the principal had told me that I was in the fifth.
Yeah, you got a little extra
You got
confusion.
And they said it was a mistake, and I was put in the fourth, fifth group. I'm like, what? Which group am I in?
Anybody else?
I have a question. Can you tell us who's in which crew?
We'll come back to that one too. Yeah.
So I was kind of upset whenever I found out that I was in Miss Kim's. Not just I like Miss Kim and I like her structure a lot. It's just that lots of my friends are in Miss Brittany's, and I have friends from when I was in second grade that are in Miss Brittany's still. So
I'm kind of excited because I have a lot of friends from 2nd and 3rd grade in both of the classes. So I ended up in one with some of the friends that I haven't seen in a while except during math, but then I'm working really hard and focusing on my math, so we don't really get to see each other a lot, just kind of hi. And I'm really excited to be able to still like talk with them and have recess and lunch with them. But I'm also kind of disappointed that I'm separated from this class. I've always had classes where there were a few people who I was really close friends with, and then a few people who I was friends with, but we didn't really play with each other all the time. We just kind of talked. And then a few people who I knew their name and a little bit about them, but like I really didn't know them and they didn't know me very well either. And last year it was like everyone was a really close friend, and now we're being split up. And I had been really excited for this year because I wanted to see everyone again, and just because I like having something to do, which I have plenty of things to do at school, and a lot of people are nice and just fun to be with. But since we're getting split up, I'm just really sad that we won't be seeing each other every day in the classroom.
There's a notification on your computer.
Thank you. Yes, I think it's a software update, so I'm going to leave that. Oh, thank you very much, Gwen. Is it just a software update?
Yeah.
Okay, does anybody else want to or need to share?
I'm just saying I saw notification.
Thanks.
Okay, lunch and ice.
Okay.
If there's no more feelings. we
Yeah,
can
there's
move
no
on
more
to those
feelings, we'll
parts.
move on. Okay, so we'll move on to what one of the questions we wanted to ask you was what your needs are and how can we help this be a smooth transition for you and be a successful year. We can't promise that we can do everything. Okay, so just like probably with your families, sometimes your parents make decisions that you don't get a say in, and then they might ask you for some input on some things, but you don't always get what you ask for or get all of what you ask for. But we want to hear what your needs are and what we can go forward. We're going to talk to Miss Deborah after this meeting when she gets back into town and see what things that we can do to maybe meet some of your needs. Can't promise all of them, can't make any promises, but we can hear you, okay? What we've already heard is the lunch issue. And I would say we are probably 95% on the path to making it so that our two crews have lunch together. And it will be a lunchtime for Discovery 4, 5, 6, okay? So we heard that from you, and
The thing to know about that too is that we want that. We put together a schedule for it. We're just, because it's lunch and there are so many other teachers and crews, the only thing that we're waiting for is teachers to say, yeah, that works for my IAs, or yeah, that works for, there's I think 1 or 2 teachers.
right.
And we should know that pretty soon.
And there were a lot of people involved in that because there's the coverage for the people who are the supervisors. There's the cafeteria staff to make sure that they can do what we've asked for. There's, as Ms. Brittany said, the teachers who are affected to make sure that that works for them. So that's in process. And I would say there's an extremely good chance that we will make that happen for you on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, so 4 days out of the week, you would have lunch and recess together as a whole 4, 5, 6 crew. So you would see each other. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay. IAs. As it looks right now, like I said, as it looks right now, it looks like 4 or 5 will be going with the regular 5th grade, and 5, 6 will be going with the regular 6th grade. Okay, we're not sure. That's where it's looking like. We can't divide you up and send 4th grade with 4th grade, 5th grade with 5th grade, 6th grade with 6th grade, because that takes nearly 3 hours of instruction time when the crews would not be together. Does that make sense to you? Okay, So we can't just have in and out and in and out. Plus that doesn't give Miss Brittany and me a time to plan because we would be supervising kids all the time. Okay. So that option was really not a feasible one. The way it was set up with fourth grade going with the fourth grade time, or 4-5 going with the fourth grade time, and 5-6 going with the sixth grade time, one, that didn't put you with any of the regular fifth graders, which, as you pointed out, you wouldn't know anybody, so what's the point, kind of? Although it's good to get to know other people, but you still weren't, there was no fifth grade with fifth grade. So this way, at least you're mixed up that way.
Yeah.
That may change because, again, that affects Mr. Doug, Miss Chelsea, Miss Pam, but the way we have it structured right now gives us an almost 2-hour block in the morning where we can do collaborative expeditions where you will be together, and then specials and such. Okay?
The other thing that I wanted to remind you, and Ms. Zebra asked us to remind you, is with the mixing up, we had several purposes in that, right? That if you're going to IAs with kids who are not in Discovery, it's to help you meet new people and expand your horizons a little bit. Because I know that you guys have felt the effects of it being Discovery and not Discovery, right? And so mixing up for those IA times was suggested and was created as a way to kind of break down that division between Discovery and kids who are not in Discovery.
And it kind of goes back to the multi-age thing too. I think we need to kind of let go of the idea of I always need to be with kids who are my age or my grade, because once you get into middle school and high school, like I have a friend whose son is in band. Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, all in band. Sports teams, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. I mean, you're mixed. It's not all about age. That multi-age thing is good. So the whole purpose is not only expanding your horizons with kids your own age, but if you're with 5th and 6th graders, is it okay to have friends who might be a year older than you? Absolutely. Is it okay to have friends who are a year younger than you? Absolutely. Miss Brittany and I are friends, and there's more than 1 year between us, I can tell you that. There's a whole lot of years between us. Okay, so I want you to sort of let go of they have to be my age. Or, well, they're younger than me. Battle of the Books, for those of you that was in that was awesome, and that was multi-age.
Those of you who have switched in the past for now, right? They're multi-age.
Girls
Right.
on the Run,
Girls on the Run,
multi-age.
I bet in any of your like extracurricular activities that you may have participated in, it's not just 10-year-olds, it's not just 11-year-olds, right? It's a span of ages.
And guess what? Even in a regular classroom, before I came to Discovery, there were a lot of ability levels of kids that I learned how to teach kids who maybe were in 4th grade, but some kids read at a 1st grade level, and some kids were reading at an 8th grade level. And I had everything in between. And even within our own crew last year, did everybody always do the same thing? No. There were kids who were ready to move on. And so teaching is not just, here is my plan and I'm sticking to my plan. Teaching is more like juggling, kind of.
Yeah,
Juggling and making changes all the time along the way.
Yeah.
You have a plan, you think, but then, there's branches off that plan. So we are prepared to juggle all of that, and we want you to trust us that we will juggle it for you. And in what's in your best interest always.
Yeah.
Socially, academically, all of that. Okay? So opportunities to mix with the regular classrooms during IAs. Lunch adjustment so that you all will be together. So we've addressed those concerns. We've talked about the academic piece. What are your other needs from us to make your year an awesome one? And you see what I put up there. Our goal is to be the how combo classes should be done in Discovery. So what can we do? What ideas do you have to help make that happen? Or what do you need from us to make that happen for you? Other than what we've already talked about.
This is kind of with that, I think all of these classes, like in the last 2 years, something like that, when they've all been like in one grade separately, they've all have gotten along pretty well. And I think if we put them, like we're splitting 5th grade and then 5th and 6th and 4th and 5th are combined, they'll be working really well together. But, just, I'm confusing myself.
You want to know if you're going to have a chance to work academically together?
Yeah.
Is that what you're getting at? Okay. So we already talked about some ideas yesterday.
Yep.
About, you know, how we used to do It's Monday, what are you reading? We talked about changing that up a little bit and having book chat on Wednesday and to incorporate Miss Diana into that and change up the format a little bit so that it would be a 4th grade group, a 5th grade group, and a 6th grade group for book chats. We don't know exactly how it's going to look yet, but at least we had that idea. So that you would have some isolated time together for that. We also talked about some all group time with 4, 5, and 6 together to do some team building and some STEM challenges.
Yeah. We already even have a plan in that first little half week of getting everybody, 4th, 5th, and 6th, all together so that we are all on the same page, so we all understand what this combo classing means, kind of like we're doing here, but with everybody, right? And to, like Ms. Kim was talking about, doing some team building so that you know everybody who's in 4th and 6th, regardless of whether you're in Ms. Kim's or in my crew. Does that make sense? That we've really, we knew that this was something that you guys were concerned about, and we have tried really hard to make some plans to make sure that you're working together academically, that you get some social time, that you get time to mix up with 4th and 6th grade, that you get time when you're just 5th grade.
And that you get 5th grade voyage together.
Yes.
Because one possibility was that 4th and 5th, the 4, 5 class would go together, and then just the 5th graders from the other class would go together. And we didn't think that that was a very good idea. So we, even though it creates some difficulty and challenge for us, we made it so that you guys, plus remember we're getting 2 new 5th graders in, so I hope that you also incorporate them. Some of you realize and remember what it was like to be new, so we hope that you'll incorporate them in and include them as well. But we thought it was really important for you to do fall voyage together as a 5th grade crew. So you're going to go with all of you. We'll go with Miss Brittany for that. Yes, sir.
I've been wanting to ask for this since I heard about this whole thing. I've been wondering who's actually going to be in my class and like what classes are we going to be splitting to.
Okay,
Getting the list.
I'm getting the list.
Because really all that I got sent was whose class
You are in, right? So you want to know who else is in your crew.
Yeah,
I know which
I
class
know
you're
a
in.
couple.
Totally.
I don't know which class.
I only
Like,
know
like
like
one
one
class.
class.
Yeah,
I like
All right.
All right.
So,
I know that.
I know my mom rent.
okay. So in my crew, and you know, maybe I just had this little brainstorm standing over here. Maybe we just need to stop calling it 4, 5, and 5, 6. Maybe we just need to call it Miss Brittany's crew and Miss Kim's crew. And then we have no label attached to it. We're just going to take that off.
And hopefully I don't forget which crew I'm in.
That's all right.
We'll remind you.
We will.
All right, so in Miss Kim's crew is Joshua, Ian, Liam, Jagger, Ashlyn, Cole, Eloise, Colby, and Steven is going to be our new student. I think, was he the one that came from American Academy, or was it the other one?
I don't remember. I know that
One of the boys visited.
Clark
I don't know if
was
you
the one.
remember.
So the one that'll be in my crew is the one who visited.
Okay.
So I think he's the one that's coming.
So then Miss Brittany's crew will be Jonathan Cannon, Clark is new, Gwyneth, Andrew, Mila, Grace, Porter, and Colby. or not Colby, you're on the other one, sorry.
Yeah.
Colby, you're with me.
That's why you got sent that email.
Yeah.
That's why I
This
was
was Miss
confused.
Deborah's email and, yes.
You are with Ms. Kim.
Okay. So that answers that question.
Do you guys have other questions or ideas about how we can be that awesome site that models for other sites how to do this?
This is more of a concern.
Mm-hmm.
When with the other fifth grade crews, in the past couple of years, like during lunch and recess, they've kind of been being really crazy and like putting food in other people's spaces, and it makes me really uncomfortable. I don't really like eating like in that with them. I'm glad that we're kind of going to be having lunch with us together, but this really doesn't have much to do with the combo class things. I'm just kind of, this year, I would like to maybe, I think we'll get along better now that we've kind of been seeing each other more, but I want there to be a little more like control, because I think it's getting kind of crazy.
So do you mean within this group here?
No, not this group. The
The other fifth
classes.
grade.
Okay. So maybe we need to think about doing some team building.
Specifically with.
Yeah. I'm not sure how much of it is like the relationships between us. It's just kind of that they like trade food and aren't really being careful of like watching out for people's personal space. And I just don't like it when people like put a sandwich in my area where I'm eating, because then I have to keep all my food off of that area, and that is not very easy to do.
So that sounds maybe like establishing some norms,
Yep.
just,
With.
okay,
With Mr. Yep.
okay. Should get some paper at this time.
I agree with Grace that it's not so much the relationships, it's just what they're doing.
Just goofiness, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
They also have a lot of energy. They go really crazy. And with some of us being in IAs with them, Mr. Doug used to say that we are like the best, calmest crew. And then they're like the craziest crew. So that might not turn out very good.
One thing that I want to say and remind you of, right, is that our attitude shapes a lot of how things turn out, right? And so I totally hear your concern, 100%. And I think that perhaps you can also look at it as an opportunity to be a role model, like we want to do with the classes that we have this year. And also, since Mr. Doug and Ms. Tam and Ms. Chelsea have had the whole summer to think about how are we going to integrate these crews, I bet that they have some good plans about how they're going to set up norms, how they're going to create the culture in the classroom that they really liked about your crew last year. Does that make sense, Ashlyn? That they probably don't want to have craziness in their classrooms, right? And so it's in their best interest for you guys and also for themselves to really have some structures in place. And I guarantee you, knowing those three teachers, that they have thought about that long and hard this summer. Okay.
So, from what it sounds like, is that most people are kind of worried about being with the other fifth graders. And I just wanted to say that we should try and keep an open mind, because I know that people change, and I know some of the people in there personally, and like they're not really that crazy. And I don't know, it just kind of seems like to me that most of them aren't that crazy. We just notice the people who are crazy more because they're very crazy. So I just wanted to say that we should try and keep an open mind because not all of them are crazy.
Just a question, but when are we gonna find out our IA groups?
We don't even know your IA groups.
Okay.
You guys will probably find out very soon after we find out, my friends.
All we know is that there's gonna be 3 rotations. We have no idea what that's gonna look like.
I'm guessing that we'll have an idea sometime before the first day of school, but we don't know exactly when yet.
We have meetings next Thursday and Friday, so I'm guessing we'll get some of that information when we have our first, because like we're here today, but this isn't an official work day for us. Our official work day doesn't start until next Thursday. So we'll have meetings and such. Okay, so I have to establish behavior norms with the 5th graders for IA and lunch, maybe doing some team building, because I think that team building helps in that behavior. Like you can sit down and talk about norms and such, but I think that having opportunities to collaborate and work together kind of builds that and builds that knowledge of one another and that expectation.
And I did that with my 5th grade crew last year with Miss Billy and Miss Susie. We mixed up all the 5th grades together and did some team building. And at the end of the year, we kind of recapped. And my students from last year said that made a really big difference. They kind of were skeptical. They were like, no, we're never really going to connect with these kids. We're not going to get along. We don't really like each other that much. And by the end of the year, you know, not everybody was best friends, and that's okay. But everyone in that 5th grade group knew that they could work together. You know, they knew how to handle each other and handle being together.
I definitely agree with Jonathan. It is a very specific group of kids that are making me uncomfortable and getting on my nerves. But they've just, none of them have really ever been nice to me, including in kindergarten and 1st grade. I can get along with everyone else because everyone else has always been nice and supportive of this group, and we get along pretty well. But I think we just notice the crazy people because that's all we're looking for. So.
And I think if it gets to a point where you're uncomfortable with it, and I know this crew as a whole is, you know, very much about following expectations and following the rules and not acting out, and that being around that makes you uncomfortable. But if it also gets to a point that they're doing something that's really bothering you or affecting you personally, that Miss Brittany, myself, Mr. Brooks, Miss Billy, and the IA teachers, if it's happening in IAs, we will help you.
Yep.
But we can't help you if we don't know. So like sometimes at the end of the year, I was hearing, well, they always do that. And I'm like, well, why is this the first time I'm hearing about it? So if it's something that's escalating, come to one of us, and as a team, we'll help you guys work through it and figure it out. Just like I think there was a small group last year that met with Miss Honey with some issue, and oh yeah, we got it all straightened out. Sometimes it just needs an adult to help facilitate conversation to help you work it out. But if we don't know it, we can't help you. Okay? Okay, we've got about 5 minutes left. So does anybody have anything that they burning need to talk about, have a great idea for an expedition, or what you want to see from our expeditions? We've got some great ideas.
Yeah.
But yes.
So, I was just kind of thinking when you mentioned expeditions, in 1st grade, Miss Mary Beth and Miss Jill collaborated on the, I think it was a Chinese expedition. And so I was thinking it'd be kind of fun to do some of that.
You mean collaborating?
Yeah, on like expeditions and stuff.
Mhm.
And then also I was thinking that even though we kind of had a sudden change of plans, that you should still do the Iditarod expedition because
Yes.
I really enjoyed that, and I think the other fourth graders who are coming will really enjoy that. And I think that the fifth graders who are staying with you will also enjoy that.
I don't know, Miss Brittany, maybe it's field work in Alaska this year.
Ooh.
Change it up.
Yeah.
We'll see. Because a lot of times what teachers do when they've got a combo thing is they have like a 2-year plan and then they flip flop. So, but if that's something that you guys are really super passionate about and you would like for us to work in some way, we can, I think with our 2 big expeditions we're thinking about, that we can probably work that in some way if there's a particular passion for that. But I will write that down. Or maybe it's something even that I start an Iditarod club that we meet outside of school if it's not if it's not gonna fit into our academics. Okay? Goldie?
I was thinking maybe a nature expedition, because like last year we did energy and Iditarod, and that kind of went around nature a little bit, and so I kind of wanted to learn more about nature.
I was thinking since the Olympics are coming up, maybe you guys could have an Olympics expedition.
Cool. So just a question, but we're still gonna do the 40-book challenge in your class, right?
I don't know. We talked about that briefly, and I had some ideas this morning driving that I haven't had a chance to share with Miss Brittany yet. But somehow incorporated with book chat, we do want to have some sort of record of it. Is it going to be the 40-book challenge? I'm not sure. Is it going to be a twist on the 40-book challenge? Maybe. Is that something you would like to see or change it up, or what are you thinking?
I don't know. Last year, the 40-book challenge really stressed me out, but over the summer, I've become a fast reader since I finished the last book in the Harry Potter series in 3 days.
And you got a new one coming out soon, don't
Yes.
you? I know you two are going to be on that. Okay. Grace?
I have always been interested, like Colby said, in like natural things. I don't really care what about nature, but I really like learning about things. And just as a warning, if you're going to do one unit about nature with me, I will probably in some way be studying it for the rest of the year because I'll get carried away. And
We understand getting carried away.
especially if it has to do with cats.
Okay, so we promised your parents we'd be done at noon. Any last things to share? And if you think of more, email.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I had a great idea for an expedition on my way home when I was talking to my mom or whatever. Email, because we're meeting regularly and talking regularly about these plans. So please, and if you think of other questions, keep the communication open.
Yes.
Okay, because I think what happened this week was that your brains went into all kinds of different things, and that if you just ask, like Ashlyn said, if you say it and get it out there, we can deal with it and take care of it, and you're gonna feel a lot better.
Yeah.
Okay? Okay, yes.
This is just like a last idea, but can we do like a country study?
Country?
Yeah,
Like of different countries?
or like
or one
like-
country.
or
I
of
was
like
thinking
our
Ashland,
country
where
and
I live.
everybody picks a different state other than Colorado.
Oh, you mean a country or a state study?
Yeah.
Okay, something like,
I would like to do a service project this year.
Joshua?
I would, so for the 40 book challenge, I know Cole said that it really stressed him out, and same with me, it stressed me out, but for me, I'd probably feel a little less stressful if, like, it wasn't like every person has a goal of reading 40 books. It's like the whole class has a goal of reading.
So maybe change up the goal setting.
400. Yeah.
Okay. Jagger.
I think it would be fun to do quantum physics or quantum mechanics.
Yes.
All right.
Never even heard of that.
So to close, let's end with, now that we've had this meeting, I feel blank because. Okay, Jonathan, you can start.
Now that we've had this meeting, I feel better because I feel like pretty much you guys have cleared up all the questions I've had about like the logistics of having a combination classes and everything. And I also feel a little less nervous because since we've talked about it a little bit, I just feel better. And I'd like to go this way.
After this meeting, I feel, empty because you guys have answered all my questions and I've shared what I feel about this. Now I know who's in my class, so now I feel good about that. And my mind is not bouncing off the walls.
So after we've had this meeting, I feel, I feel better than before because now I know a lot of what's going on in the combo classes and how we're going to do things and who's in my class, like Porter said. So I just feel better about what might happen next year or this school year.
Now that we've had this meeting, I feel glad because, like Porter, or not, like Liam and Jonathan, I now know a lot more about what's going on than before.
After this meeting, I feel a lot calmer because like I know what's happening and I'm not like, okay, what's happening? What's happening? Am I in this class? Am I in that class? Who's in my class? Is it this person? Is it that person?
Now that we've had this meeting, I am feeling excited and much more ready for the school year.
After this meeting, I am feeling excited and happy because now I know who's in my class and I know how this next year will probably turn out.
Now that we have this meeting, I'm feeling excited because now I can stop worrying about all of you, which has been my major focus this week, was the worry and the anxiety over what you were thinking and feeling. And now I can let that go and I feel free to move on to the fun stuff, which is planning.
After the meeting, I'm feeling excited and also still a little confused about how voyages are going to work because about how combo classes and is fifth and sixth is fifth going to be going on the same voyage as sixth. Okay, so I don't exactly understand how it's going to work out still.
Fourth will go with fourth to Aduco, like we did last year. Fifth will go with fifth, plus the people who aren't here and the new kids, to Aduco for the fifth grade experience, which is 3 nights. And then sixth grade goes and does their backpacking thing.
Okay, but I just don't understand because they're not going to all be able to go out once.
They're not. So, no. So we have that worked out.
Yep. We were ready.
After this meeting, I feel calm and hungry because one, it's lunchtime, and two, I was mostly worried about who was in which class because I just like to know what's going on. So I feel much more calm.
After this meeting, I feel like either the world has turned upside up again or it's not ending because I am always really excited for school and I don't like summer break very much because I get really bored when we're not on vacations. I have plenty to do at my house, but I guess after the first few weeks of summer, I've done things and I'll feel like a certain thing, but then my brother doesn't usually feel like doing that with me, and then it's not.
We'll
that
have
fun
plenty
with
for
myself.
you to
Oh,
do.
yes.
Sure.
We will keep you very
So I
busy.
like school, but after I found out about this, I wasn't very excited for school. And since I'm always so excited about school, it was like the world had turned upside down or something. And now it's back right side up because I'm excited about school and I might know what the expeditions are. I don't know for sure, but I have ideas.
After this meeting, I'm feeling better because I thought that we were going to be split up and we wouldn't really see each other for the rest of the year. But now that I know that we're going to do things together and basically like merge together, I'm feeling better that I can work with other people.
After this meeting, I feel relieved because I thought it was just going to be maybe do a few projects together, might see each other occasionally, but now I know that we're going to do projects, possibly lunch, hopefully lunch, and voyages.
All right, thank you guys so much for coming. It's amazing that at the last minute you all came, thanks to whoever watched and tuned in today. I'm glad this was helpful to you. It was helpful to me.
Yes.
And we will walk you out to your parents so that you can go eat lunch.
Yes.
Yay!
Then we will not feel hungry. Because my brother